Do you guys have a pet? What are the stains from, Mr.?
No, ma'am.
So where do the stains come from, Mr. Lavin? Do you know?
They're likely beverage and food stains. We entertain in there. Sometimes our grandkids are here and running around with food.
Those should come out.
I would have hoped so.
This is the plaintiff, William Lowe Jr. He says he was hired by the defendant to clean his cowhide rug. He came to his house, cleaned the thing beautifully, was paid, and left. Then the sneak turned around and stopped his check and started complaining he didn't spend enough time doing the work. Huh? He's here in the name of justice suing for the $253 he was stiffed out of. This is the defendant, Michael Lavin. He says the plaintiff told him he would spend 1 hour cleaning his cowhide rug, and the guy gave him a rush job, and the stains are still visible. He's not paying the full $253 for an hour's work when the plaintiff only did 30 minutes of inferior work, and now it's up to the judge to decide who's in the right. He's accused of rubbing a rug cleaner the wrong way.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Milian in our forum, the People's Court.
The People's Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Marilyn Milian is now presiding. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Okay, Mr. Lowe, you and your company, Champion Carpet Cleaning, are suing Mr. Lavin for $253, the amount you two agreed upon when you were going to clean his carpets, and he stopped payment. Tell me what happened.
I spoke to him on the phone. I told him the price before I even arrived at his house. He agreed. I came to his house. I seen his rug. His wife had ripped up Post-it notes all over this rug.
You mean like she would put a little piece of Post-it note here and it just to show you all the spots she wanted you to remove?
Correct.
And so what were the discussions with Mr. Lavin about how long you would work on the rug beforehand?
Well, over the phone, he asked me how long it would take, and I told him about an hour.
Okay. And then when you go there and you're working on it, he seems to be very upset that it took you a lot less than an hour because the stains didn't come out. So let me hear from you on that.
The stains did come out. Actually, I took my time, and I mean, it was a very small rug. It was only 7 by 9 feet, and I have a machine that's 17 inches wide.
Okay.
The brush on the machine.
So did you take pictures of your work when you were done?
I did, and I forgot to take pictures when I was done, but he had sent me a picture when I was done, and you clearly see it's much brighter than the picture that I took.
Did the stains come out like you're saying?
They did, and he looked at it before he gave me the check.
All right, let me hear from you, Mr. Lavin. Were you there when he did the job?
I was.
All right, and at the time that he finished the job, sometimes when there's carpet cleaning, it looks great when they leave and then the stains reemerge. Is that what happened in this case?
When he finished, I asked him if he felt all the stains had come out. And he said, we'll only know once it dries, which will require about 3 hours. But I think that most, if not all, of the stains did come out.
Okay, so it looked good. And then what ends up happening later?
Well, my wife had been out of town. She came in that evening, and she said, well, how did it go? Are the stains out? And I repeated for her what Bill had told me. And so the next morning, when the sun was shining in and we turned on all the lights and could take a good look at the rug, my wife, whose eyes are much better than mine because I have a detached retina in one eye, looked and said, these stains aren't gone. They're still there.
All right.
And
you folks took a video as evidence, correct?
Okay.
Here you could see the brown spots.
Do you guys have a pet? What are the stains from, Mr.?
No, ma'am.
So where do the stains come from, Mr. Lavin? Do you know?
They're likely beverage and food stains. We entertain in there. Sometimes our grandkids are here and running around with food.
Those should come out.
I would have hoped so.
But what I would like to understand is this. When in the continuum did you write the check for $253?
Okay, Your Honor, when Bill walked into my study after he had finished shampooing, which was 1/2 an hour after he had arrived at my house. Took him 15 minutes to vacuum and then 15 more to do the washing. He said, "I'm done." And I had agreed to pay, or my wife had agreed to pay $253. So I wrote him a check. Now,
why didn't you inspect the work before doing that?
Well, I asked him, and he had already told me that we wouldn't be able to tell until the carpet dried 3 hours later. But he thought that most, if not all,
so then
of the stains
the half
would have come
hour
out.
didn't bother you until the stains didn't come out.
No, the half hour was not my issue. I know that
So
the
what you
plaintiff,
wanted was a guarantee that the stains would come out.
Well, Your Honor, I sent you screenshots of the plaintiff's website, where, in fact, it says that he guarantees a clean result. And it also points
Wait, he
out...
guarantees that any stain will come out in his website? Do you guarantee that any stain will come out, Mr. Lowe?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Show me the website where he guarantees he'll take out any stain, because I don't know a carpet cleaner who does that. Our multi-step area rug cleaning process is guaranteed to leave you with a spotless clean. Are you out of your mind, Mr. Lowe? Why do you guarantee that? How could you ever guarantee that every stain will come out?
I can't guarantee that.
Well, then why are you writing a guarantee to leave you with a spotless clean? First of all, it's bad grammar, but you should remove that anyway.
I'll make sure I remove that today.
And Mr. Lavin, you saw the video, right?
Yes.
It didn't work. The stains are all still there, right?
Well, that's a multicolor rug. I don't know if those are actually food. I don't believe they're food stains, because food stains 100% come out.
No, exactly. That's the part I don't understand.
No, I really took my time with this rug. Like he said,
You
I was
took
there
a
for
half
a
an
half an
hour.
hour.
You think a half an hour is a long time with the rug?
For a 5x7 rug, yes.
So why
Or
did you say it would
9x7
take
rug.
about an hour, which is double the time you took?
I just say that just because I know I'm going to be less than an hour. So in case he has another appointment, I know 100% I'm not going to be holding him
Use the
up.
words less than an hour when you talk to them. Mr. Lavin, here's a problem I'm having, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
If it were me, I wouldn't have stopped payment on the check. I would have paid the guy, learned my lesson, not used him, and maybe put a bad review on Yelp against him. But here's the thing. You not only agreed to pay, or your wife agreed to pay the amount, you paid him after he did the job. You wrote the check. So in essence, his lawsuit against you is not a debate about whether he did a good job or not, but a debate about why you write a written instrument. He's suing you on the written instrument, which is the check. If you had given him the check when he walked in, and then you're shocked and appalled to see what happened, how quick it was and everything else, I could understand that. But you literally write him the check afterwards, which means then that it is not that that it is nothing more than the fact that the stains didn't come out. And there really isn't a guarantee of the stains all coming out when somebody cleans your rug. Now, he's telling me, but Judge, there is. Look at the website. He guarantees a result. What am I supposed to do with the fact that you use the word guarantee you spotless? I've never seen a carpet cleaner put that on their website. So you tell me, Mr. Lowe, where do you leave me?
I'm definitely removing that guarantee, because I guarantee on my work, and that's on my invoice.
I'm going to, what I'm going to do, based on what I've heard, I'm going to order Mr. Lavin to pay you, and it's going to be $175. That's my judgment.
All right, so the plaintiff is only going to get back $175, not the $253 he was seeking. Mr. Lowe, let me ask you a question. I think you learned a valuable lesson in this court case. What do you think? Am I right?
Yes. Yes, I have to be much more careful with my words.
Yeah, I mean, your written word, that guarantee, the word guarantee, you're going to eliminate that from any written thing now on. Anyway,
that's going to be gone today.
What do you think about that, Mr. Lavin?
I probably should not have trusted this guy or his website, but, we believed him when he said that he did this.
Well, you know what they say, you live and you learn, and you've done it the hard way. All right, sir, well, thank you very much, and that'll wrap it up for this case. Good luck with your rug, whatever you do. Harvey, how about it?
So, Doug, this is a super interesting case because there was a warranty here, a guarantee that the spots would come out. And if they didn't, it doesn't matter if the rug cleaner did a good job. If there's a guarantee, a warranty that they will come out and they don't, tough luck for the rug cleaner.
I saw today that John likes pinball. I have to know, has he been to the Silver Ball Museum in Delray Beach?
Not only have I been to the Silver Ball Museum in Delray Beach, I dragged my wife along to the Silver Ball Museum.
I remember that place.
Right? So I didn't want you to feel like a pinball widow.
Yeah.
So, dragged you along.
I sat at the bar and drank beer while you played.
Yes, you sat at the bar and had beer, and I played for at least an hour, maybe an hour and a half or something, and then came back and you were like tapping your foot going, how long are we going to stay here?
All right, you've had an hour.
And I've also been to the Pinball Hall of Fame in Las Vegas where they had hundreds of games, but I didn't drag you over there.
No.
You stayed in the hotel.
I put my foot down on that one.
Right. But I do check. Every time I go to a city, I check the pin map, the pinside map to see if...
What's the pinside map?
It's a website that has a map that you can pull up that will tell you where there are pinball games near you at any given moment.
It's a website for pinheads.
Yes, exactly. It's wonderful. So, if I go somewhere, I know how far I have to walk to get to a game or find a game. Maybe there's a game I never played before I could try out. Right?
Which you often do. You'll go to a restaurant a few blocks away and try out the game. Or at least that's what you're saying. I don't know what you're doing.
I think it'd be easy to find me.
This is the plaintiff, Mark Whidden. He says he was driving his car for Lyft with a passenger when the defendant, who was driving a big 27-foot truck, crashed into him. His car was severely damaged. It took 13 days to repair. He needs his car to make a living and is suing this amateur truck driver for $1,410, the amount of his insurance deductible and lost wages. This is the defendant, Frank Ross. He says he was leaving a nursing home, turning right, when the plaintiff, for some strange reason, tried to wedge himself between the wheels of his truck and the curb. It was like he was trying to get into an accident. Even the cops asked him why he would do something like that. Bottom line, he wasn't ticketed for any wrongdoing and owes this weirdo nothing. He's accused of trucking up a Lyft driver.
All parties, please hit your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff says that he was driving a customer around in his Lyft car when all of a sudden the defendant crashed into him in his huge 27-foot box truck, and he wants money for the repairs. But the defendant says the plaintiff tried to squeeze into his lane when he was making a right-hand turn, and he got clipped due to his own negligence. It's the case of don't box me in.
All right, Mr. Whidden, you're suing Mr. Ross and the company, which we will not mention, for $1,410 for your insurance deductible and 13 days of lost work based on an accident that happened that you say was Mr. Ross's fault. Let me hear from you.
Well, if you look at the pictures, you can see that he was on one side of the two-lane exit to a private parking lot. So he was on the left side, and I went to the right side to turn right. He was going to turn left. And so I think since he's in a big truck and since he's the amateur driver, he couldn't turn left because of all the construction and traffic going on. So he decided to turn right. Suddenly, he just turns right and just runs over the front of my car.
All right. And let me hear from you, Mr. Ross. You tell me how the accident happened.
He is absolutely correct. There was construction on the street. And I put in before I left the location that I was at, I put in the GPS of where I needed to go, and I needed to make a right-hand turn. It is a 26-foot box truck, so it makes a wide right turn. And because of it being a narrow street, in order for me to make that turn onto the street without going over onto the curb, I positioned myself in between where I was straddling the left and the right lane. So I was in the center of both of them.
Okay, there's not actually a lane. This is the driveway out. There's room for two cars.
There's a line that says there's an arrow on the ground to make a left.
Okay, so it's actually painted on there. Okay, go on.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So I straddled myself on both of them, and I turned on my right turn blinker and waited for traffic to go by, and I started to make my right-hand turn. And when I started to make my right-hand turn, that's when I felt the truck jostle because I ended up damaging his vehicle.
All right, but you say the accident is his fault because what? He squeezes up on the side of you after seeing you?
He wedged himself, yes ma'am, he wedged himself between my bumper and the curb. And there's a step ladder on the back of my truck that is actually what caught him. And if he had been 2 feet back, it would have never happened.
So
he just admitted his guilt.
What, Mr. Whitten?
He just admitted his guilt. All he's saying is, but if you look at the pictures,
No, how did he admit his guilt? I want to follow your line of thinking. How did he just admit his guilt?
That he suddenly made a right turn, and if I wasn't right next to his truck, that he wouldn't have hit me.
Right, but that's not admitting his guilt. He's saying you were in a place you shouldn't have been, that you should have waited for the
Well, look at the pictures, Your Honor.
Mr. Whitten, let me finish my sentence. Do you hear me talking?
Yes, ma'am.
What he's saying is he's not admitting his guilt. What he's saying is, I am a big truck, I am making a right-hand turn, and then all of a sudden someone sees space, and so they go to the space, and they're trying to make a right-hand turn before me, but they're not respecting the truck and the fact that the truck has to do that, so you kind of gotta, you gotta wait for the truck the truck is taking up all the space, but there's a little space here, so you get, it's not like an inch, it's not an inch, it's space enough for his car to get there and jam you up when you're making your right. He is already at this spot when you're driving up, correct? Because
yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So you
fully in the left lane.
Yeah.
All the way over to the left lane, because he's going to make a left.
Except for
I drive up like a normal person to make my right. He suddenly turns right. Look at, and like I say, I showed you picture proof how far over I was from the curb. I wasn't squeezing my way in.
No, you showed me where you say you were. That doesn't.
No, that's where I was.
Proof.
That's where the accident happened. That's where I stopped my car and took
that's
the
like
pictures.
me saying that if I say it into the mirror, there's two people testifying to it. That's where you say you were. There's no question that there was enough room for your car. What he is saying is, he's there first, and then you come up and he's gonna make a right. There were no outdoor cameras?
No, ma'am, not on the street.
Mr. Whitten, when you come into court, you have the burden of proof. That means you have to prove to me by a preponderance of the evidence that the accident happened the way you're saying. I honestly don't know which way it happened. If the accident happened, that the truck is there, the truck is straddling like the center of where he should be, and there's room for you, and you come up here disrespecting the size of that truck, because I would never do that. And frankly, I have a friend who did that on a bike and lost a leg. This is a very dangerous thing to do with a big 26-foot truck, a very dangerous thing to do. And then the accident, I think, would be your fault for creeping up and into whatever space you see in front of you, passing him and trying to get there in a rush. If the accident happened, as you said, that he's completely in the left-hand lane and you're completely in the right-hand lane, you see him there, you assume he's making a left, and then you're driving and then he changes his mind and makes a right, then he's at fault. The problem is I don't know which of those two it is, because I've seen both things happen nonstop.
The insurance company found in my favor after their investigation, by the way.
Okay.
And I have that right
Which
here,
insurance company?
That was with Progressive Insurance.
I don't understand. Then why are you suing for a deductible if you went through his insurance?
He didn't go through our insurance.
I know that. Let me do what I do, Mr. Ross. Mr. Whitten.
I'm sorry,
How
ma'am.
did his insurance company find in your favor?
I still have a deductible with my insurance company no matter what.
Right, you have that because your insurance company paid the car, not his insurance company. And your insurance company paid the car because it's your insurance. They're gonna pay the car. That's why you have insurance.
My insurance company was also going back for the deductible when this came up and the small claims court came up. And so then they dropped their case against it for the deductible.
Yeah. So, but where am I finding evidence of an independent investigator that found in your favor? It's your insurance. They have to pay your car. So there's nothing about that makes them have found it in your favor. You know what it is? It's a he said. That's what it is. I'd love to have a camera to see.
I also think my pictures prove my point.
No, how do your pictures prove your point?
I'm 3 feet away from the curb. I'm not sneaking up on anywhere.
Hold on one second. It's not a matter of
Those
sneaking.
Pictures were the original
just
pictures.
Just a second. Calm down.
Before my cars move.
Calm down. Take a deep breath.
Okay.
Woosah.
Okay. This is a picture of the damage to your car, right?
Right.
Right. And what part of your car ended up... Does anybody have a picture of your truck?
I do. But
Where's the
I mean,
ladder? Where do you keep the ladder?
It's in the back of the truck by the lift gate.
Okay. Which would mean that you're already making the right when he thinks he can make the right. If
No. The ladder's in the middle of the truck and it's welded on there. It's not on the back of the lift gate, not at all.
All right. Let's see, though. What about your pictures proves where you were?
The picture where it shows the front of the car and you see how far away from the curb I was.
Okay, but these pictures are taken afterwards in order to prove your case in court, correct?
No, I got out of the car wasn't moved. The car was not moved then.
Where's the truck?
My car was turning. Well, he moved the truck because he was in the middle of the road at that point.
When were these pictures taken?
Right after the accident.
I have no idea because I didn't take pictures until after I.
Oh, is this a Penske truck? Hold on. Is that your truck in the back?
Yes, ma'am. That sure is.
Okay.
And that's the actuality. When he was taking pictures, he did walk completely around my truck, and he did move his car.
I moved my car after the pictures.
How do we know? I mean, you keep talking about how obvious it is. He didn't get a ticket, right? It wasn't obvious to the officer either. He had you guys exchange information and sent both of you your own way and didn't give anybody a ticket because he doesn't know what happened. Listen to me. I'm not finding that you're at fault, and I'm not finding that you're at fault. I don't need to find out what really happened. I don't. What I need to do is ask myself, has Mr. Whitten proven to me that it was Mr. Ross's fault? And I find that you have failed to prove that to me. And for that reason alone, my verdict is in favor of Mr. Ross, and I am not ordering him to pay you $1,400.
So the case ends with the plaintiff losing the case because he could not convince the judge he deserved to prevail. Mr. Whitten, you heard the judge. You were smiling before. I don't know if you're smiling now, but what are you thinking?
Oh, well, everybody's wrong in this case. All I did was minding my own business, and all of a sudden this maniac runs me over, and now I lose out on all kinds of money. That's what it comes down to.
Obviously, I know you're upset. You're sorry, but hey, what can I tell you? You couldn't convince the judge, and that's it. Mr. Ross, how do you feel about the outcome of the case? I'm sure you're pleased, right?
I'm just happy the facts came out and the truth was there. I'm not saying whether he was at fault or I was at fault, but the fact of the matter is he was in a place he shouldn't have been.
All right. Well, obviously, if he hadn't been there, he wouldn't have had a problem damaging his car. All right, that'll bring this case to a close. The judge has made a decision, and everybody has to live with it, just like that. Okay, Harvey?
Doug, it's as simple as this. There is a burden of proof in every lawsuit, and in this case, the plaintiff has the burden of proof, and if it's 50-50 and the judge just can't decide, plaintiff loses.
My sister left me her car in her will, and the car was totaled. Does this mean I'm just out of luck?
Well, you're out of luck because your sister died, but...
Right. I mean, my God. This sounds horrible. Like maybe she was in the car and got hit by a train or something.
Yeah, I can't tell I don't know if the person asking the question is saying, by the time my sister died, completely unrelated, my sister had totaled the car.
That's what it sounds like.
That's what it sounds like. And the answer is that if the car had insurance and insurance is supposed to pay and fix it, insurance will still pay and fix it.
Right.
If somebody hit the car and that somebody is liable, you could stand and you are now inheriting the car.
You're assigned that.
You're assigned that car along with its assets and liability. Right. You could sue whoever it is that hit that car.
Right.
If what you're saying is through no one's fault, it's totaled and it was my sister's fault and she didn't have insurance.
Right.
Yeah, it sounds like you're out of luck.
Right. If the car had no insurance and it got totaled and you inherit only the car, then you get maybe like a crushed up little cube of metal or something.
Right.
Make a coffee table out of it, but you're not really going to get much of a windfall, right?
This is the plaintiff, Carrie Miller. She says the defendant slashed her tires when she was parked near the Buddhist temple in her neighborhood, and he was arrested. The guy got her car mixed up with someone he had a beef with, but he refuses to pay her the $945.88 he owes her so she can get new tires. So she's suing him, here and now, for just that. This is the defendant, Tyler Wilson. He says he categorically denies slashing the plaintiff's tires. and he's not paying for something he didn't do. The defendant says he wouldn't do that to someone he doesn't know. The plaintiff has no concrete proof he did it, so he owes nothing. He's accused of slashing and dashing.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff says that the defendant slashed one of her tires in a fit of mistaken rage and won't own up and pay. But the defendant says the plaintiff has no proof and he's not paying for something he didn't do. It's the case of slashing and dashing.
Have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Okay, Ms. Miller, you are suing Mr. Wilson for $945.88 for the replacement of 4 tires and lost wages. What happened?
I woke up that morning and noticed I had a flat tire. When I went up to my tire, I noticed a 1-inch gouge in my tire. It looks like somebody had slashed it. I noticed also that my neighbor had 3 slashed tires on a company vehicle. So at that point, we talked together and we decided to call the police. We pulled a camera that was next door and we saw what looked like Mr. Wilson coming down my driveway at around 9:30 that night. That's the only person that has come down that driveway, so I did press charges against him for it.
Right, but did the police ever talk to him?
Yes, they did go to his place of employment.
And what did he say about slashing your tires?
He denied slashing my tire. He admitted to slashing 2 out of 3 of the company vehicle's tires. He did not remember slashing that 3rd tire or my tire.
Okay, then. Mr. Wilson.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, though? What happened?
I went to the residence where Miss Miller lives, along with an ex-coworker of mine, and
you okay?
Slashed the tires
Hold on
of the company vehicle.
hold on. I hate to interrupt you at that very part, but just one second. Do you live with his coworker?
No.
Are you
We are neighbors in the same building.
Same building. All right. So
Yes,
you
ma'am.
went, Mr. Wilson, to the building because a coworker of yours lived there?
Correct.
And why did you go to the building?
To confront him.
About what?
We had we had worked together for about 2 years and had a falling out a couple months before this incident.
Okay.
And someone had told me that he was at a local establishment talking about me.
Saying what about you?
I wouldn't remember exactly what it. This came.
Oh, it was
this
enough
came
for you to
from-
go over there and slash his tires. So I'm trying to imagine what he could have said that would have made you go commit a crime.
After we stopped working together, it was just like a complete, like, coworker who could work together to hate each other.
What had he said that propelled you to go to his house?
He was talking
As in?
in the words of the third party.
Right.
No, not specifically.
Oh,
that.
you didn't
That's
even
it.
have to know specifically.
Literally.
That was enough for you
Literally,
just to hear
yes.
that.
Correct.
Okay, so you go over there
Correct.
to confront him, and how do you confront him?
I didn't confront him.
Oh, what'd you do?
He apparently was not there, or I slashed the tires of the company vehicle that he used. That
seemed like a reasonable thing for you to do.
No, it was not.
So why did you do it?
Anger.
Were you drunk? Were you stoned? Or were you just angry and unable to control yourself?
I had been drinking and let my anger get to me.
So you slashed how many of your coworkers' tires?
I recalled 2.
But you were drunk.
Was told that there were 3.
Yeah, well, apparently there were 4.
Yes, I had been drinking.
Yeah, but apparently there were 4 because
Yes,
her tire
apparently.
was slashed. Did you slash her tire?
Not as in my recollection.
Can we trust your recollection?
I have my own doubts. But it seems unlikely to me that I, would slash a vehicle's tires that I don't know who the vehicle belongs to.
No, that would be totally out of character
that's
for
right.
you. That would be totally out of character, because you only slash the tires of people you know. So what do you think happened to her tire that was? By the way, your car was parked where in proximity to your neighbor's car that also got slashed, Ms. Miller?
2 cars over.
Okay. So, and do the trucks look similar or something, or do you?
Not at all. His
Is it-
was a truck, and I have an SUV.
Okay. Are they the
And
same
his
color?
clearly states the.
Oh, his has
No,
the
not
company
at all.
name on it. You have no idea.
Yes, ma'am.
So, what do you suppose, Mr. Wilson, that there was another knife-wielding maniac, drunk, slashing tires a few feet from her when you were doing it? Because it wasn't you.
I couldn't speculate.
Oh, but I'm not
But
going to speculate either. I'm going to
I
decide.
can remember what I did.
Right. Why are you suing for 4 tires when he slashed 1, Ms. Miller?
Well, ma'am, in my police report, it states that I needed to get 4 tires because of the tread of the tire. I drive an SUV, and you can replace just 1. You had to replace all 4. During that, it also ruined my all-wheel drive on my vehicle.
How would
there
that
is
ruin
no
your all-wheel
extended
drive?
cost. It started to overheat, and the lights came on my vehicle.
Wait, I don't understand.
and I
How
had
are
to
you
have
driving? Wait, stop. How are you driving on the slashed tire?
One of his coworkers came to my building and put my spare on for me.
Okay, and then
So when I drove my spare to the shop, it started to overheat, and I couldn't drive it.
slashing a tire doesn't make your car overheat. I don't know how long you were driving on the donut, but no, that doesn't. How long were you driving on the donut, darling?
The shop is about 10 miles from my house. I went to a dealership.
Do you have evidence of how much the tires cost?
Yes, I have it right here. I have the total bill.
How old were the tires that you had on there?
The vehicle is 1 year old. It was just 1 year old.
So if it's 1 year old, how much tread could you have wasted on the other 3 tires? Because it's only a year old. I understand if the car's 4 or 5 years old and your tires are 4 or 5 years old, and then they have a certain wear, then you have a new one. You can't do that. I get that, but just every time somebody gets a flat tire, they don't replace 4 tires when the car is a couple of months old. 12 months, a year old.
Right.
So I'm wondering why all 4 tires were changed.
Because of the tread difference. They had to put a brand new tire on.
Right,
and
I know.
because my car was a used vehicle, they had to replace all 4 with brand new tires, which left me with the difference of the tread difference. I had to pay $30 each tire for them to put those on.
So 120?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you pay anything besides 120?
Yes, ma'am. I paid a $500 deductible to my insurance company because, as I stated, the all-wheel drive was replaced as well. My total bill came to $3,080.34 for this damage.
But I have to figure out how much of that this imbecile is in charge of. What year was your car?
2014.
Oh, I thought it was a 1-year-old car. I'm sorry. Now, regarding
Yes,
that
ma'am.
electrical problem that happened, the mechanical problem you said?
Yes, ma'am. When I put the donut on the vehicle to take it to the dealership, my all-wheel drive light had started to go on, saying it was overheating to stop the vehicle.
Because you've got to drive. You know how fast you are allowed to drive with a donut?
35 miles per hour is what I
And so
believe.
you
the
drove
limit
10
is.
miles, 35 miles per hour?
35 was the most, so I went 30. That's as most as I went. I did not go on a highway or any faster than
Because
that.
that's kind of, what happened is kind of indicative of maybe not going 35 miles an hour. Either way, I don't think you can pin that on him. You can, however, pin all 4 tires. Now, your lost wages, tell me about that. Do you have any proof of that?
Ma'am, I just did not have a vehicle to get to work because it would not let me drive it. I wanted to use the donut to get to work.
No, you didn't want to use the donut to get to work. How about public transportation or getting a ride or something else?
At that point, I didn't have any options. I did not have
Okay, do you have any
Uber.
proof
I did
today
not
that
have
you're out
family to help.
$144? Like, do you have anything from your employment that would show me that you work and that that's what you make and that that you called in that day and then you didn't make it? Do you have proof of the lost wages?
No, ma'am, I don't have a statement from that day.
Mr. Wilson, I don't know what's wrong with you. Have you ever been arrested?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you were arrested for slashing your coworkers or your ex-coworkers' tires. Then you were arrested actually for slashing her tires, correct?
No, this is one criminal case.
But you're charged with slashing hers too, right?
Yes, specifically, I'm charged with criminal mischief.
Yeah. Are these charges pending
Yes.
against you?
Yes, they are.
All right. What do you expect is going to happen when you go to court?
I'm not sure.
Have you ever been in court before for a criminal case?
Yes.
How many times have you been arrested?
A handful.
I don't know what that means. That's not a number that I'm familiar with.
I would have to look to see exactly how many times.
You've lost track? How about you give me an estimate?
4 or 5.
Like for what?
DUI, larceny, a breach of peace, and I believe that would be it.
Okay.
Some of those are from when I was, younger.
Well, how
18,
old are you? How old are you?
38.
When do you suppose you will get your life together?
It has been improving. Besides, situations like this, this was not the right thing to do and the right way to handle.
Oh, you think? Is there anybody who depends on you? Do you have children or a mate or anybody who depends on you or parents who depend on you? Anybody? Is there anybody in the world depending on you?
I'm by myself.
Okay. Mr. Wilson, it's time for you to get your life together. You're not an 18-year-old boy. This is nonsense. Complete nonsense. I'm ruling against you in the amount of the tires, $801.88. I'm not going to grant lost wages because there are other ways to get to work, and you have no proof of the amount of wages you've lost. I am going to, of course, whenever you win court costs as well, whatever you paid to file the case. That's my verdict. And Mr. Wilson, you're also, this is completely separate from the criminal charges that you're facing for doing what you did. And, on the tip of my tongue, I feel like I'm supposed to say good luck, but I really don't wish you luck on it. I wish you consequence.
So the plaintiff prevails. The defendant admitted a number of arrests. This is a fascinating case. Mr. Wilson, you got to pay $801 to the plaintiff for what you did. What's your reaction to that? Are you surprised at all?
No.
Well, as the judge said, she hopes you get your life in order. All right, Ms.
Sure.
Miller, you're going to get money for 4 new tires. Good for you for filing the lawsuit.
Thank you. I'm happy it went the way it went.
Was it a hard decision for you to take him to court?
No, it was a very easy decision. I knew he would be in the wrong, so.
Okay, thank you very much, and congratulations. Okay, that's it. What do you think about this, Harvey?
So, Doug, sometimes you only get what you ask for. The plaintiff didn't ask for punitive damages. I think in a case like this, you could get it. You get punitives for fraud, oppression, or malice. And if slashing a tire isn't malice, I don't know what is.
Do you have a favorite cherished possession?
I do.
And?
I do. I have a perfume bottle that belonged to my grandmother.
Right.
That is just the old-fashioned, it's all glass. You know where it's right where my
Old
makeup
school.
can. It's,
I know the one you mean.
You dip it and you would go like this if someone actually poured perfume in there.
Is it
of
from
course.
Cuba or what?
Who knows?
Sure.
I know that I was a little girl and my grandmother had it and I was always fiddling with it. She was always telling me not to, and then I got it when she passed away. Oh. And so my kids, know it's there, and that's
I better
the one
watch
thing.
My butt and not drop that one on the floor.
Yeah, because you're not very graceful. You're kind of you're kind of a klutz. But I have it way against the mirror, so even you can't trash it.
My favorite cherished possession is probably my father's old cufflinks, which are little police badges with his badge number on them, and they got to be 60 years old or something. And I'm attached to them sentimentally.
But I've never seen you actually wear them. Are you afraid you'll lose them?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
They're just for looking at. They're not for wearing. Right?
I agree.